David Lynch's film universe is filled with countless horrors. A pale mystery man who accomplishes the impossible and appears in two places at once. A woman with a deformed face who sings a song in a radiator. A violent man transforming into a baby. And the horrible fate of Laura Palmer. Let's take a look at a scene that is, in my opinion, one of the scariest scenes ever captured in the history of film.
It looks just like this, except for the light. And I'm scared like I can't tell you.
This is Dan, and his worst nightmare is about to become reality. Mulholland Drive is a mystery thriller with neo-noir elements. This surrealist masterpiece was released in the year 2009. Betty Elms, played by Naomi Watts, moves from Deep River, Ontario to Los Angeles, chasing her dream of becoming a Hollywood actress. She then encounters an unknown woman in her aunt's apartment. The woman suffers from amnesia caused by a car accident. It soon becomes clear the unknown woman is in danger. One particular scene from this film burned itself into my memory. The scene is set here, at the Winkies. A look at the original screenplay reveals that Lynch initially imagined the setting to be a Denny's restaurant. 12 minutes into the film, we meet Dan and his friend Herb.
I just wanted to come here.
Dan begins, visibly uneasy. To Winkies? Herb asks, irritated.
This Winkies.
Dan replies. His expression already shows that this is a serious matter for him.
Why this Winkies?
Dan is embarrassed to tell his friend the reason they met here. What will Herb think? That he lost his mind?
I had a dream about this place.
Oh boy.
Herb reacts with mild amusement and a hint of condescension. He doesn't seem to think dreams are a serious matter that two adults should be wasting time on.
You see what I mean?
Dan anticipated this reaction. He breaks eye contact and looks down, hiding his humiliation behind a smile.
So you had a dream about this place. Tell me.
Look at Dan's expression. This is the exact moment the tone of this scene completely changes. Dan will tell us about his recurring dream. The dream takes place in this Winkies, but it's neither day nor night.
It looks just like this, except for the light. And I'm scared like I can't tell you.
Let's pause here. Why is this line so important for the understanding of the diner scene? Dreams are experiences that are difficult to convey in language. We can recount what happened in a dream, but the feeling it produced in us is nearly impossible to communicate with words. David Lynch has frequently talked about this limitation of words in relation to his filmmaking. Cinema can say things that are difficult to say in words, just like when you have a dream. It's very difficult to say in words something that would give your friend the same experience you had. But cinema can be the dream, can give that thing. That is one of the reasons Lynch refused to summarize or analyze his films in interviews.
Cinema is a thing that deals with things beyond words, and it's so beautiful. It talks to you, but not with words alone. So just go in open and just go in and have an experience in a different world.
I could ask you what the film is about, other theories you have heard. What have other people propounded to you about Mulholland Drive?
Many things.
Let's hear a few of them then. If you
No.
don't mind.
Let's go back to Winkies. Dan is experiencing this limitation of words as he tries to share his dream with Herb. But he keeps trying.
Of all people, you're standing right over there.
Dan looks at the counter as if to reassure himself that he's not dreaming. In a few moments, this shot will be repeated.
You're in both dreams. And you're scared.
Even Herb seems tense now.
I get even more frightened when I see how afraid you are, and then I realize what it is.
We are almost 2 minutes into the scene when Dan reveals what makes him so afraid. What is it? There's a man in back of this place. He's the one. He's the one that's doing it. I can see him through the wall. I can see his face, and I hope I never see that face ever outside a dream.
So, you came to see if he's out there.
To get rid of this god-awful feeling.
This line is short, but gives a lot of context. Dan's dream isn't just a bad night's sleep. His nightmare has invaded his reality and is now a constant companion. The visit to this Winkies seems like Dan's last hope to get rid of that god-awful feeling.
Right then.
Herb gets up to pay. The picture of the counter from before is repeated. This time, Herb is standing there, exactly like in Dan's dream. Dan's reaction tells us his nightmare is coming true. By trying to escape it, he ironically seeked it out. When a character takes an action to achieve a goal, but this action leads to the opposite of what they intended, that is called dramatic irony. There's a great short story called The Appointment in Samaria using that storytelling device. I recommend checking it out, you find it online. As Dan remains frozen in place, Herb signals him to follow. On the table, we see that Dan hasn't touched his food at all. The men leave the diner. David Lynch chose an unusual setting for a nightmarish scene. A busy, colorful place in broad daylight. Herb now walks behind Dan. Dan seems pressured to keep going. It isn't socially acceptable for grown men to be afraid of a boogeyman. Dan's reaction to a payphone and an entrance sign tells us everything is unfolding exactly like in his nightmare. The entrance sign could be read as a last warning, with the arrow pointing the other way, signaling, "Turn back." A falling sound is heard, and a long staircase descends in front of Dan. He continues and moves closer to the wall that separates dream from reality. Will David Lynch actually tear down that wall? One last desperate look back to his friend. But Herb is no help. He's just an observer like we are. Dan slowly moves forward and meets his demon. Dan is unconscious and the phantom vanishes behind the wall. Herb feels for a pulse on his friend's neck. Lynch cuts back to the wall. It's like he's telling us, the monster is hidden, but it's still there. But what happens to Dan? The scene leaves us uncertain. A look at the original screenplay answers that question. Herb looks up. The man is gone. He looks down to Dan. He kneels down and studies his friend. He feels for a pulse in the neck. He listens for breathing. His friend is dead. The diner scene works on many levels. It's a masterclass of suspense. We observe a man facing his worst nightmare. What the demon symbolizes for Dan is unknown. This information is not included in the scene, but the demon could be read as a representation of our deepest fear. Or you could read the diner scene as a parable of life. Even if we try to avoid it, in the end, we have to face death. But the diner scene also reflects the medium of cinema itself and its ability to convey experiences that language alone can't communicate. This observation leads to an existential horror, the experience of isolation. There are aspects of our human existence that can't be shared or communicated with another individual, not even with your friend Herb. We have to face those aspects of our existence completely alone. Our nightmares and demons only belong to us. Except if you are David Lynch, then you share them generously with the world. And scene. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you liked my scene analysis, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more stuff. I would love to hear from you which scene is your pick for David Lynch's scariest scene. You have a very interesting face. Good night.